Watch Who?
Hello.
And welcome to Watch Who, a Doctor Who podcast. I'm Mark.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm a Doctor Who fan.
And I'm new to watching Coombe.
Watching for the very first time.
Very first time.
Welcome back, everybody. We are working our way through season 1 of Doctor Who. Oh no, series 1 of Doctor Who. I was about to say not to be confused with series 1 of Doctor Who. I've just confused everybody right now. We're doing the Christopher Eccleston series, everybody. Welcome
Not
back.
coming there here.
Oh, what is going on? And we're doing...
We've done this once.
And we're doing our first two-parter of the series, Aliens of London and World War III. But first, minor update. I don't know if you remember last time we recorded. Very minor. I kept stepping on something sharp.
Oh, yeah.
So after we recorded, I know everyone's dying to find out what it was. It was a massive needle, like a sewing needle that I was stepping on. I don't know where it came from. It was stuck in the carpet. So that was my pain last time, everybody. But it's gone now. I've checked the floor today. I'm not going to step on anything sharp.
Oh, good.
And also, just some news from the other day. Sad news.
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Sarah Kingdom.
Sarah Kingdom, yeah. Jean Marsh passed away.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So she was Sarah Super Trooper, wasn't she?
She was Sarah Super Trooper.
Yeah. And she was that witch in Battlefield as well, Morgaine. And
characters.
Yeah, she did a few people. So that's sad news, everyone, because we really liked her. That was like Dalek's Master Plan with Sarah Kingdom and Katarina and everything. She made that time golden.
She did, yes. You're right.
We love talking about her, whether she's a companion or not. Doesn't matter. She was great, whatever she did. I mean, she's done loads of other stuff as well as Doctor Who. She was like a big actress, upstairs, downstairs, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, let's get on. We've got a two-parter to talk about. Or last time as well, I did say I wasn't too fond of this one. Did you know anything about this or the Slitheen or anything like that? Had you seen? Was this all new to you?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm trying to remember. I don't think I did know anything about this, but it's hard to think because you see the spoiler thing, the upcoming. I'm trying to think, am I thinking of that? And also we've had quite a gap between recording.
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks actually.
Yeah. I've been away. I've had food poisoning. What's happened?
Yeah, going back to this one, I was slightly dreading this one because this is one that I would never choose to go and see. Go pick off the shelf. You know what I mean. What am I talking about today? God.
At the moment. It's all right, love.
But you know what I mean. I wouldn't choose this one to watch. And I remember watching it at the time as well. I was a bit like, oh, this is a bit silly. This is a bit.
Really?
Oh, I just really didn't like it very much. And I think this divides fans, this one. You either are on board with the Slitheen and you like it, or it's weird because nowadays, we always talk about the new stuff and people are like, oh, this is stupid and silly and everything. But I think at the time, you either were on board with the Slitheen and you loved the new series, or you were those people that were like, this series is not for me. This new, there's people that are like, New Who is not my thing, even back then. It's funny how people can accept the Slitheen stuff and not maybe some of the more modern stuff, because I think this Slitheen stuff is sillier than ever before. But I think maybe watching it again this time round, I've slightly softened on it and it wasn't as bad as I thought, but we can get into that. We start with a recap of Rose, what's happened with Rose so far, because this is Rose returning home.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing for the new series. This is what modern Who does best. The companion's story, the companion's backstory, the family and everything, which we had in Rose. And it could have easily just been that first episode. She goes off and you don't see Jackie and Mickey again until her last story, which would happen in like classic,
Yeah.
But we keep returning in modern Who to these characters. Which raises the question, did we talk about Jackie and Mickey, like, they're not it's that whole, are they companions? Are they not companions? Are they like,
We haven't had that talk, but I feel like to be a companion, you have to travel in the TARDIS, don't you?
I knew you was going to say that. Yeah, we'll leave that for now. They're sort of the equivalent of the unit regulars, I suppose.
Yeah. They're regulars, but they're not companions.
Yeah. And that opening bit where they land and the doctor's like, it's only been a few days, but then it turns out there's all the missing posters and Rose has been away for a year.
That was great.
That was brilliant. That is what we needed in classic, the consequences. So Ian and Barbara, for example, they left in 1963. The Doctor dropped them off. Well, the Dalek in the chase, you know what happened. They ended up in 1965. That could have been a whole what happened because they think that like Mickey might have like murdered her or something, all that kind of thing. That could have easily happened with Ian and Barbara. They could have
They
thought,
were teachers. What happened to their positions in school? Their teachers didn't turn up the next day.
exactly. And maybe it could have been like Barbara and Ian were heard in the staff room. Ian was saying to Barbara, come to this junkyard. Did she go of her own volition? Did he take her? Did he murder her? That kind of thing.
Okay.
Same with Dodo. We could have had last seen on Wimbledon Common running to a police box. Well, actually, no, she did come back to Earth after a while, but she could have been away for a long time. She could have been like, has she been, human trafficked somewhere or something? What has happened to these people? All of these different Ben and Polly. Actually, no, not Ben and Polly. Ben and Polly are the exception because they left on one day and they returned on exactly the same day.
Yeah.
I think that's the only time it's actually happened because usually it's like a Rose thing where it's like a year has gone by or something like that. I think Ben and Polly are the only ones that get away with not being noticed. Anyway, that's a completely different thing. But anyway, it's really great that we see the consequences and that Jackie's, what's happened to Jackie and Mickey since. What have I written here? Oh, I've written. I no, I've got Tom Jones written down here, and I was like, why the hell have I written Tom Jones?
Why have you put Tom Jones, Mark?
Because I was gonna talking about Jackie and Jackie like shouting at the Doctor and stuff. That's great, all of
Yeah.
that scene. I was gonna say because I've met obviously Camille Kajuri who plays Jackie a couple of times. I'm sure I've showed you a picture. She's lovely. She's pretty much she comes across exactly like Jackie quite a lot of the time. Although when I first met her, she was a little bit moody actually. I don't know what had happened. She was a bit funny. I don't know what it was. I've met her a couple of times and all the other times she's been really lovely. We saw her when we were doing our films podcast and stuff.
Right.
Do you remember when we watched is it The Life of Tom Jones with Max Beasley? And it's like a famous book, The Life and Times of Tom Jones or something. And it was a BBC drama from like, late 90s.
It rings a
And,
bell, but I don't remember it that well.
and it was sort of pre-Victorian stuff. And Max Beasley is like, goes around and he has lots of affairs and things. Sylvester McCoy's in that as well. And she plays, because he's put up for adoption and then he doesn't know who his mother is or something like that. And she plays, I mean, Camille Kajuri, she always plays a sort of blonde, sort of, I don't know, if she's going to be in some of these, she's like a blonde wenchy type character. She's always that type of person. And she's exactly that in the Tom Jones one. And there's that scene, I've got to dig up that episode because I'm sure we talked about this in depth at the time. There's a scene where you think he sleeps with her. She's like some sort of barmaid person. And then it turns out that she could have been his mother and you're not sure. And then there's like that moment where has he slept with her or not sort of thing. I remember her from that. Anyway, when I met her, I did mention that to her that we had watched The Life of Tom Jones.
Of course you did.
And that's when she was in a mood and it didn't lighten her up at all.
I bet. I bet. Of all things you could have mentioned.
This episode, the big thing in all the trailers for this new series and everything was that image of that spaceship coming in and crashing into Big Ben. That's like,
yeah, it's a great image.
That's like our big sort of first memorable image of this whole this series.
Well, what I quite liked was the Doctor being like, "Oh, this is where I travel, like to see real life," and you're meeting, and also them just like when they're like, "Oh, we'll go and watch it on TV," like what people would do. And just gathering around in someone's house watching the TV, watching it unfold. There's something very 2000s about it.
I mean, that would happen. I mean, it would all be on TikTok nowadays, wouldn't it?
Oh, we don't be on our phones watching it.
It is exactly it. And that's Rossi Davis's writing, isn't it? That's the kind of thing that he does. He's like, well, other writers might make it a big thing where everyone's outside in like, classic UFO sort of film. But in this, it's like real life. You just watch it on TV. You stay in and watch it. And there's the clip of Blue Peter and they're making the spaceship cake.
Yeah, they're in the cake.
That's really great. And it's sort of, you don't see the Doctor in that sort of domestic situation very much, or we
Yeah, and
haven't
it sort
before.
of it gives that moment of normality, which is
Yeah.
brilliant. It's just real.
All the news stuff as well, like BBC News and the American news. This is where we get that a lot in Modern Who. This is where it starts. I'm sure that's been in other series as well. But the way it's an economical way to tell the story to the audience. You
Yeah,
watch it on the news. It's really cheap to get someone being a presenter in front of the camera to
yeah.
show the story. You don't have to, show the whole world. You can just show lots of different. You can show an American TV presenter and a British TV presenter, and that means the whole world is watching. you know,
And talking about it.
so
Yeah,
that's a really clever mechanism which they just come back to so many times. We could do a tally of how many times they do a news report like that in
yeah.
Doctor Who. And they're outside, so the spaceship crashes and they take a body to the nearest hospital. I mean, obviously it's supposed to be London, but location watch. I think we should do location watch. The hospital, which is Cardiff Royal Infirmary. Did you recognise those metal
I was trying to
gates?
work out which one it was. Yeah,
And I meant to look up the history of it because I wanted to see, because I don't know if it's an actual.
the Cardiff Royal Infirmary. It is used still as a hospital. There's doctors in there because that used to be my doctors when I lived down that end of town, and it's used as like outpatients and stuff like that. They have loads of services in there still.
It's because it's just those old sort of iron gates that make it look like an old building,
It
but
used to be
actually,
the A&E.
oh right.
It used to be the A&E, and then when they opened the one up in Heath, then it moved to Heath. So that
Mm.
used to be the A&E in town, like for
Right.
Cardiff. Like it
Well,
was the.
yeah. I mean, I wanted to see if it was like a listed building or something because it seems like it
Oh, it
would
must
be.
be. It must
It
be.
would
Yeah,
be.
it's a beautiful building. Like it's literally smack bang in the middle of town, though.
Right. It really is.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
So
there's like a whole GPs, doctors in the middle at the bottom, and then there's loads of like outpatient facilities in there.
yeah, I always walk past and just saw it. It's because they call it Albion Hospital. I just always saw it as Albion Hospital whenever I walk
Have
past.
I
So
never told you? I must have told you this story. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. When I was at college, I was on the SU and we were setting up for, I was health and welfare and well-being and stuff secretary. So that on the SU. So we were setting up for someone from to come and do because they used to do like STI checks and stuff like that. So I went down to arrange for someone to come and do STI checks at the college, right? So I went down like they do drop-in sessions. So I went down to talk to someone about it. And I just went down a bit early and before like they have different slot hours. And I went down and it was like the AIDS slot when I went. And I was on the phone to my dad. Have I never told you this story?
no.
Oh, it's really funny. I was on the phone to my dad. I can't, let's say I was going for 2 o'clock. I got there about 1:30 and I was like, oh, it's just the AIDS dropping now. So I'm just there. I'm just at that. I'm waiting for the next drop in. And my dad was like, oh, right. Okay, cool. Oh, well, let us know you get on. I was like, yeah, fine. Gets off the phone. He tells my mum, he's like, oh, Sarah's at an AIDS drop in. So my parents thought that I just very casually dropped in a conversation that I'm telling them I have AIDS, and that's how I'm telling them.
Oh no.
But not that I've gone to go. So I was like, yeah, I'm sorting something out for college. I'm just at the AIDS drop in. And it was so like, he's like, I'm there for an hour because like I'm meeting these people arranging this. Right. So an hour and a half later, I get on the phone with my parents. And my mum's like, how was it? And I was like, yeah, fine. It's all sorted. Everything's arranged. And they're like, we fully support you. Anything you need. And I was like, what? I was like, I mean, yeah, great. It's all sorted. I was like, this time, no. So, like, they're going to come to the college. Can they, like, bring us some leaflets and stuff like that? That's all we needed. Just some leaflets and stuff propping up. Like, we're having, like, check yourself day, for STIs and stuff. My mum was like, yeah, but whatever you, like, it's really good that you told us. And, like, I'm like, what are you talking about? And my mum was like, well, you went to an AIDS clinic. Like, I was like, no. Like, so for an hour and a half, my parents, like, I was like, Mum, if I was going to tell you something like that, I wouldn't just say it in such a blasé way. I just had this image of my parents having a panic for an hour and a half, like, oh my gosh, like, what do we do?
Mm.
I mean, my parents were funeral directors through the AIDS
Mm.
epidemic and stuff. So, like, and and medicals. I think they were going through proper panic of like, we're going to support our child and everything. I'm like,
Oh God, that's so
anyway.
funny.
Oh,
Well, that's
that's
our
why whenever I think of the Cardiff Royal Infirmary, I think of that conversation.
yeah. Well, we're all going to think of that now, aren't we? Whenever we. I was just trying to see if they use the inside a bit or not, but
Well, they do use some of hospital, and I think for a while it was like quite empty as a hospital, like because it's only they had it quite close because obviously they moved a lot up to the Heath. So this is 2000s when I remember when I went in for that. It's quite like big and empty. It's not the prettiest of sights. Let's put it that way. It's very old school, old school.
yeah, I was just trying to see because I thought as well the inside. Just sorry, just skipping around a minute. All of the stuff at Downing Street,
Yeah.
all of the boardrooms stuff. I thought that was going to be the what's it called? The main bit, the council. Where's the all the council chambers and stuff. Where in the middle of town, next to the museum. What's that called?
Next to
The
the
the council
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. I can't.
town hall. The town hall.
Town hall. Yes. Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was a town hall, but it's not. It's out in Hensel Castle in Clun.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah, yeah.
So all the
I
boardrooms
think
and
I've been to
stuff.
weddings there.
Yeah, it's more like a venue, and they use it for other things as well. So all of those, like the boardroom, all the wood panelled rooms and stuff. That's
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I
I've been at weddings there.
Yeah, because I was going to say I thought that was the thing, but going back to the infirmary. So in the infirmary as well, there's a this is weird. This is also a weird thing that I didn't like at the time when I watched it. I was like, what are they doing here? So the body's brought in. There's sort of all the soldiers and stuff, which is not. We don't see Unit. Unit is mentioned. That's our very first ever like classic reference. They don't like doing classic references at this sort of season because I think they are distancing themselves. It's only a bit later on that it gets more and more continuity when it's more of as a known success, I think. So there's a brief sort of uni thing, but I don't think they are actually uni. It's just like the army. And actually, that shot of the army guys going down the corridor. I'm not sure if the doctor's with them or not. There's a shot with the doctor running down the corridor when
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, that was the
When he's
first.
just appeared, like he goes through that door shot, and then you hear the thing
Yeah,
and he's running. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. One of those shots, that's the very first shot of the whole. That was their first filming day ever. So
Oh,
this,
really?
they made this in the first block, this story. So that was the very first shot. I think there was no doctor. It was just the guys running down the corridor. There was no doctor, no big thing. That was the very first thing they ever filmed for the new series. So this is all on like the first filming day, all this stuff. But it's so weird, this pig in this spacesuit thing. I just thought it was the weirdest, silliest thing whenever I saw that. I mean, you can get an action figure of this thing because I don't know. I mean, the idea of it is interesting because it's like a decoy thing, isn't it? It's like some alien thing, and they've actually used a pig and like done all this like weird stuff to it to make it. So there's a scientific explanation for it. It's not just a silly pig in a suit. Talking of which, we should have talked about your Shrek thing this week instead of last week.
Yeah.
um,
I didn't know what was coming.
it's very bold of them, one, to do this, and two, to have like a fake mask because it doesn't look particularly realistic. And this is sort of going back to what, End of the World, where it was all the silly aliens and stuff. I was like, what are they doing here? Watching it again now, I get it.
Small amount of time though, and it's not the main alien. Not even 5 minutes of screen time.
No, yeah, I've changed my mind on it watching it now because it's a very Doctor Who thing. When you look back at it, a pig in a spacesuit is a Doctor Who sort of random thing to have. The one with the pig in the spacesuit.
But also, you don't realise it's a pig in a spacesuit until we see it. Like, we don't see it at all until we see it running down a corridor. So that's the only time we see it, and then it gets shot. We're explained it's an alien. We don't see it at all. And I think the whole point is that people have believed this pig in a spacesuit is an alien. That's kind of their point. It's like something as people are so convinced as aliens, they believe this pig is an alien.
Yeah, no, I get
I
it
think
now.
that's kind of the point, isn't it?
Yeah, I get it now, but I wonder what everyone's thinking on that first day of filming. Like, is this what we're going to be doing? Like, it's your first ever monster film for New Who. It's that pig,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. But no, I get it now. And the when he gets shot as well, that's a moment that shows the Doctor sort of emotion for other creatures and stuff as well. So it's got its place. It was just a bit of a weird, like, I don't know. Just at the time, I didn't like it at the time. And we have all the Downing Street stuff as well. So we've got all the Prime Minister and all of that stuff. Penelope Wilton as Harriet Jones, who is
Yeah.
a brilliant actress. I forgot how great she is, obviously from Downton Abbey
I
as well.
thought she'd end up being your new Edith.
I mean, I don't know if she's an Edith, but she's a great supporting character.
She's a
She's
fab
a
supporting character.
very, very good supporting character. And we also have our friend Annette Badland.
As
So she's one of the Slitheen's. She's the
yeah, 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 yeah. All right, yeah, of course she is. Yeah. What's she else she in this though? That isn't yeah, I know but you're saying it as in like she's been in
Oh no, no, we met her at the Barry thing and Annette Badland.
what did we meet? Did we?
Yeah, she's the Slitheen lady. That's why she was there part of the time.
Oh,
Do you
I
remember?
don't remember meeting her.
Hang on a second.
We didn't meet her in Barry Mark.
We met her. Annette Badland is one of the only people that's had To Watch Who live in front of her for like 10 minutes.
I do not remember.
Remember?
Do not remember meeting her in Barry.
We've had a whole conversation about this. You know, we stood and chatted to her. She's the Slitheen.
Oh, we did. You're right. I just don't remember meeting her in Barry. All I remember meeting in Barry was
Jamie.
Jamie and what's her
No,
name?
so Annette Badland, we talked to her. We talked about and you were
Maybe it's
saying,
because I didn't have a reference point to like.
yeah.
Maybe that's what it was.
Well, that's because I couldn't read because we were talking to her about. We talked to her a long time. Remember? Because you were saying about like when we got to the new stuff, and you were like, we're talking about the '90s stuff to her, and you said that you about you're a
I had
trained
no
opera
recollection.
singer, and and I was
Oh
talking
yes,
to her
no, I
about
do
stuff,
remember now. No, I do remember now. You're so right.
and she got such a live to watch her in front of her. And she, I remember her phone went, and she was like, "I'm really sorry, I've got to get this phone call," and that was her way out.
I know she went. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We
I
were
do
talking
remember
to her.
now.
Yeah, yeah. But
Oh, you're
obviously,
right. I'd completely forgotten we saw her in Barry. That's when you were saying it. I was like, what are you on about? What do you mean, our
yeah.
friend? What else have we seen her in?
So
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. No, I wasn't sure if you, when you'd watch this, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's her. That's why
No,
she's."
I did not. I didn't put those two together at all.
But she's great in this as
Oh, yeah,
well.
she's
She's
fantastic. And
absolutely brilliant.
great.
And also when we met her as well, I was just going to follow this up. We were talking to her because we were talking to her for such a long time. I was talking to her about the audios. Oh my God, I just can't. I just realised what I said to her. I was like, "And you're in this audio with Tom Baker, and that's coming out next month." And she was like, "Oh, thanks for letting me know." But we were talking about the audios with her, and she said at that time, this was like last May. Oh, I'm doing a Sarah Jane audio next month. And I was like, oh wow, because we've had some like Sarah Jane Adventure ones come out. So I thought she was coming back as the Slitheen.
Yeah.
And there's been no announcement since. And I was like, well, I wonder what's going on with that. But last week they announced a new audio drama set, which was I looked up the dates, it was recorded the week after we met her.
Yeah.
It's Sarah Jane and Harry having their own series.
Who's Harry?
um, Travelled with the Fourth Doctor and Sarah Jane. He was only in it for a bit. Harry, the sort of the unit medical guy. Harry, oh my gosh, Harry. He was no Ian. I thought I said,
Harry.
I said he was going to be the new Ian, and you were like, no, he was in when the fourth when Tom Baker first regenerated. And there was a giant robot, and then they went to the Ark in space.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember now. Yeah.
Harry, yeah. So it's Sarah Jane and Harry in the 80s, sort of having adventures. So it's both been recast.
Yeah.
And Annette Badland is in it as Sarah Jane's aunt, Aunt Lavinia. You know, the one that let the guy in the back door.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So she's playing Aunt Lavinia.
Nice.
So that's what she was recording after we saw her. So she's not been a Slitheen, unfortunately. But yeah, really great cast, and the idea. Let's just talk about the Slitheen actually, because they're not as bad as I thought. But this whole thing is they're using people as suits, aren't they? They sort of
Yeah.
get inside people. So they're all like cast these like larger people because that's the idea. They can only fit inside larger people, which is the explanation why they don't take over the prime minister. They take over all the other smaller sort of MPs and stuff in Downing Street to try and take over. So the prime minister's gone missing. You got to remember as well that we've only had a couple of episodes of New Who, so the tone of it, you're sort of getting used to it, aren't you? And to have these sort of farting aliens, I thought that was really silly. I really do not like the idea of that. I thought, but I suppose you've got to think it's this is what, fourth week on TV. Doctor Who's profile is going up. More and more people are watching. It's a family show. It is for kids, younger kids and stuff. I think that's the thinking behind it. It's something silly that would appeal to them.
I think this is very much thinking about attracting that very like the young audience of like 8, 9, 10 that are gonna like become the future fans. And actually, the first time I kind of laughed about it because I did kind of think of like it's done really well. It's done really subtly. Like, of course, he's just found because you don't know anything, right? First time you meet the guy and he's like, he obviously seems nervous and he's like, oh God, it's a nervous thing. And like, I just sort of laughed about it. And then as it goes on, I mean, it's just a silly thing, isn't it? And it also does tie into like how they are describing it later and how they figure out who it is and stuff. So, it's not a completely wasteful thing.
But do you think it's silly?
Well, yeah, but loads of things are silly in Doctor Who.
Yeah, but I think this is the silliest ever so far.
I don't think it's the silliest ever so far, Mark. What are you talking about?
Because before we've had silly in like 1980s silly, it's been more sort of production values that have been the
No, Mark, we've
problem.
had loads of silly things.
I don't know. And the zip is a great idea. I mean, it's a fun thing because kids can emulate it, pretend they're doing the zip thing. If I was playing, I'm sure at school, if I was like young, I'd be doing that. I'd be zipping. Uh,
Yeah.
but I don't know, just watching it, it's a little bit cringy now watching it. And it's not as bad as I thought. It's not as bad, but I just think, and the way that they're playing it as well, they're doing that a little bit over the top.
Actually, watching it, what I enjoyed was this time there was a story. The story was the story. It wasn't there to like fill in key information for me.
Oh, you mean it's not setting up for a new audience? This is the
This is
Doctor
a
Who
story.
story. Yeah.
Yeah. And that I really liked, which meant I'm fine with them. Like, and also they're setting up the tone of like they aren't good. But like we don't know what they are. And we've just seen a pig. So actually, I thought they were pigs. I thought that was the point. I genuinely thought that they were going to be some sort of like trottery pig thing because pigs fart a lot. Like that sort of like, I thought it was going to be something like that. I thought they were going to be some sort of like, they sort of set that up as a decoy, but actually they were going to be some sort of like mutanty pig thing. So when it came out as a tall green monster, that was a complete surprise to me.
The thing that sells the acting of the MPs and the farting stuff and everything and the zip is Penelope Wilton when she's hiding and
Yeah.
watching the horror on her face sells that silly moment for me. If she had reacted lesser and more, more comedy, then it wouldn't have been as. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't have been as sort of like it would be too silly all over. But the way that you've got the acting of Penelope Wilton, Billy
I
Piper and
think
everyone's
the
taking
thing
it
is, in this story,
seriously.
there are two storylines going alongside. That's the reality. Because you have the storyline of like Earth is being taken over by this thing and they need to save Earth. That's the storyline and figuring out who they are. And then you have this other storyline of Rose has come back and her family are like trying to work out, well, where have you been? What's going on? And are you going to stay or are you going to go again? And that's the second storyline, and like the impact of her family, which we've already discussed. But that doesn't stop. That storyline never stops throughout this story. It's never resolved, even right up until the end.
No, well, it's because this is a two-parter as well. We've got double the time, and
Yeah,
even at the end, even in part two, which I don't think is as great as part one. In part two, a good chunk of that end is just left. They sort out all the Slitheen stuff. A good chunk of the end is just still talking about Rose and what her situation and everything. There's
And it's
plenty
the
of time.
development of Mickey's character. And like he's gone from like being, I mean, he's gone from being like accused of being a murderer and stuff like that, finding, being able to prove like to Jackie, no, I didn't do this, get Jackie back on his side, win back like his own dignity in this. He's got invited to go on the TARDIS to make those choices. Those characters all go on this journey. The side people, as it were, the side characters to this story, they're going on this whole journey. We have Jackie go on a real journey arc. I find Jackie really annoying in this. I'm just going to get this out there now.
Oh, do you like her rants? They are quite funny.
I found her so annoying.
What
I
was
really struggled with Jackie in this. The initial, when she's like, she's back, all this, all that, I was fine. She's like, where have you been? Why do you, all that? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. She's been mistreated. She's there. And then, she didn't even call Ricky. She didn't even like call him and say
Mickey?
like, Mickey, I'm doing it now, Ricky. She didn't even call Mickey and be like, no one called Mickey. Poor Mickey, who's been accused of, who's had to be, all this. And she sees the TARDIS. She sees all that. She like, it's been explained, like she's understood that like he's known about it. She doesn't trust her daughter enough to know. And her daughter's saying like, Mum, don't say anything. She said that. But she doesn't trust her daughter enough. She goes back and makes that call, sends it all off. And the whole time, from that point, she's just like going, yeah, but tell me she's going to be safe. Tell me. And at the time, I'm just thinking, look, love, there's some other things going on. They're trying to like save a planet right now. Can you just put that aside while we like save a planet and then have that conversation? Do you know what I mean? I get that you want to check your daughter's safe, but I'd be like, get my daughter back safe and then we're going to have a conversation. Do you know what I mean? I would be like, but you tell me that you're going to keep my daughter safe. Do you know what it was just constant. I was like,
I suppose that is the problem with part two. They sort of run out. We've already had a lot of that conversation. It does do it all over again a little bit. But she's worried about Rose. Rose disappeared for a year and she's suspicious. But by the end of the episode, well, she's not happy that Rose
no,
is
she's
going.
never happy with it. She
But
doesn't leave with any, and I don't know, maybe this is just me. I think it's sort of like, you can see why Rose goes. She just wants she doesn't know what she wants. She just wants something more.
But I mean, we've had that before, but this is now the Doctor and Rose are, there's that bit where, yeah, is she safe? She's really getting into it now. She's been traveling for a bit, and when she's with Harriet on her own, she's starting to lead now. She's not that sort of
Yeah,
follower of the Doctor, what's going on. She's like, oh yeah, this happens quite a lot. She's getting used to the danger and
yeah,
she's
yeah,
getting a bit maybe too used to it all. So that's why she's not bothered about stuff. She trusts the Doctor 100%
yeah,
and will just go wherever he wants. He guides her. She gets a TARDIS key as well,
yeah.
which is a big moment. I don't
But I
think we've
just
seen
kind
that.
of think like she's, and I mean, Mickey's and Jackie are people. They're settled. They don't, she's like, oh, just find a normal job, just stay here. Mickey, I think he's a bit more accepting. He's kind of more like, I get she's doing this. He's kind of like in that middle ground of like, I can't do this, but she's going to do
Well,
this.
yeah, he's a bit more, well, cowardly. When they get taken, when the helicopter comes, he runs away. He
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
out
yeah.
of it.
He's
I think,
like, that's not me, but I get that's her.
but I mean, he does all the codes and stuff at the
Yeah,
end, so he can do all of that stuff. But I think his stuff with Rose is more jealousy of the Doctor
yeah,
than
yeah, yeah,
her, what she wants to do and go away. He's more bothered that she's going off with him.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
his point of it. But I
Because the
think
doctor invites him, and he's like, that's not me.
they're not happy with it, but they both accept the situation by the end of this story. They're
Yeah,
both like,
completely.
this is how it is.
Yeah,
So
he
that's
knows it's nothing. I think he's sort of accepted, like, it's nothing, like, you're not stealing her from me, but this is what she's going to do.
mm,
I can't give that.
yeah. And this is what, Rose's first return to Earth is always going to be more, it's almost more about that. equal, like you say, equal screen time to Rose's story and just the Slitheen thing. It's a simple plot at the end of the day. They want to take over the world. They've done this decoy thing. Yeah, they get a missile thrown at them, blown up, which again, I think is a very silly ending, the way that that happens. Sorry, we're skipping to the ending already, but I like that just in terms of the two-parter though, the cliffhanger.
Oh, it's a
Um,
great cliffhanger,
it's a
yeah.
great cliffhanger. I love it's a three-pronged cliffhanger. I love a three because you've got the Doctor in danger, you've got Rose and Harriet and that in danger, and then all the stuff for Jackie and Mickey in the flat as well. Well,
Yeah,
it's just Jackie at this point in the flat. They all have a Slitheen or a Slitheen issue. That's the monster reveal classic end of part one, pretty much, and you've got all three of them and it builds up and it builds up. Maybe nowadays it would be a bit faster. I feel like they're padding it out like they did with the Autumn ones. It cuts between the three, all of the situations way too many times. You see, it's a good 5 minutes build up when you know you're waiting for that cliffhanger moment. Maybe goes on a little bit too long. I feel like they might not have enough story for like two full episodes. But it's a great cliffhanger. Yeah, and just in part two with all the missile stuff. Actually, no, saying that, just thinking about, sorry, I just looked at my notes. I mean, you've got all of the political stuff coming into there. Again, only Doctor Who would have fighting aliens, and then sort of a bit of a commentary, if you think back when this was made, on weapons of mass destruction and all of
yeah.
that. Because I was trying to think, I think Gordon Brown would have been Prime Minister at this time. So just the end of Tony Blair's stuff. But it was all of that had just happened. You know, I mean, as a kid, I remember all of that being in the news, all that who's got weapons of mass destruction? Are they going to invade or not? Are we going to do that? And sort of, Tony
Yeah.
Blair had to decide and Bush and all of that. I mean, this is creeping in now. I mean, it's basically done, but he's putting it in there. Political of the time. It's what Doctor Who's always done, commented on what's going on. But it's funny to think, but that was what was going on at that time. With the missile stuff and the codes and everything.
I
Um,
like the little comment of like, I've been away a year, I don't know who the Prime Minister is.
yeah, that's a very clever way of getting out of it. But I'm pretty sure it would have been Gordon Brown or towards the end of Tony Blair, because he stepped down, didn't he? And then Gordon Brown took over, and then
Yeah.
there was an election. And it's there if you want to see it. If not, it's just a fun adventure, and they need to get the codes and all of that kind of stuff.
I did
So
enjoy it. I thought like I enjoyed, it had points, it had purpose, it had things to follow. We've had two stories previous that haven't been that, they've been like information fillers.
well, we've had setup forwards in time, backwards in time, and now we're back to present day.
Yeah. But the other ones were more like, here's a load of information we have to give you as audience, and here's some more information we have to give you as audience. This one was like, okay, with this information we've given you, here's a story
Mm.
that kind of ties everything in. Here's some aliens. Here's a TARDIS moving. Here's all this stuff. Let's see it all like sort of working. Let's throw some other bits of information. You get the keys. Oh, look, it's glowing. The TARDIS is coming back. We're getting all these bits coming together. We actually see it moving. It wasn't just like, and you get, the side thing of like the dealing with the family and stuff. So it felt like it moved somewhere. And
Yeah,
also, I think it felt like the story feels like it started in one place, we've ended in a different place.
we've definitely, we've set all the characters have moved on a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mm.
that's really nice to have. Everyone's left in a slightly different. No one's just been like, oh, and that happened. I'm the same. Let's move on. So for that reason, I did enjoy it.
I definitely liked it more. Maybe not my absolute favourite, but I appreciate what it's trying to do. Actually, what do you think of the design of the Slotheens? Because they're sort of half costumes, and sometimes they're CGI, which I think sticks out a little bit. But they're a weird design, aren't they? Then they don't look easy to be in an outfit for.
They kind of remind me a little bit ET,
Yeah, they've got that sort of shaped head, haven't
but
they?
I
But
wonder
then
if that was done on purpose a little bit as well. They look very typical alieny.
I suppose, yeah, with the big eyes
They've
and
got big
everything.
eyes. They've got like this long neck that then creeps over. They're green. I kind of feel they look. like a typical alien. They've got big claws. They look fantastic.
I mean, they definitely stand out.
The only time I thought they really looked bad was when they were coming out of the costume.
That's all the CGI stuff. But how do you do that? Because you can't really show. I mean, they're very clever. And most of the time, it's off screen that happens, but they do have to show it at some point.
But then when they're sort of out, the rest of it, I thought they looked really good. And like, look, we're talking 2000s. It's not what it is now. We can't compare it. I thought for what the budgets would have been, actually, it's really good.
Mm. Just sorry, a couple of things that I got on my notes that I
Okay.
noticed. Harriet, just going back to Harriet, because I don't think we talked about her enough. She's brilliant, but she has a great hero moment when the Slitheen are going to attack Rose, and she's like, "No, take me, take me." I was
Yeah.
like, "Hero moment." I'll remember that. That is a good thing.
Yeah.
And at the end, when Mickey and Jackie are in his kitchen and they're chatting, I've never noticed this before. They're talking about something about Alien. They're talking about are they still around or something like that. And Mickey lifts up his bin and looks in his bin
Oh, yeah.
as if as a little reference to the wheelie bin thing in the pub.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never noticed that before. It's really like just in the background. They're saying like, are they around? Are they listening? Are they here? And he quickly lifts up the bin and looks in. I've never noticed that before. That was quite good.
Brilliant.
That's very clever. And Slitheen end up being an actual family unit as well. And obviously the big thing, the name of the planet is I can't say it, but that's what it's a fun tongue twister for kids to say at the time. What is it? Rexacoricofallapatorius, I think is the name of the planet. But again,
Someone loved having to learn that as an actor.
but I love all those names. The same with the end of the world, all those alien names, ridiculous long names. Terry Nation would never think of a name like that. Terry Nation would just be like, that planet is called like Alpha One or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas Russell T Davis is like the most over the top ridiculous. You can't say it. It's so silly. It just shows that difference. Yeah, great. And two parts as well. I think that 2 45 minutes.
Less than
Different.
45 minutes.
Well, yeah, just under. I mean, different experience to the 2 45 minutes in the 80s.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, for sure. They're about 35.
Definitely. Well, the next story is called Dalek.
Yeah, I saw a Dalek in the I think the
Re-
Daleks.
Return of the Daleks. Terry Nation has getting some more money in or his estate is getting some more money in.
Say is, yeah, I was
No,
gonna say.
because there was a whole thing as they were starting production. They were like, we haven't got the right. They couldn't agree to get the Daleks, so they had a completely different alien. It was only last minute that they could actually get the Daleks. I remember reading it in like Doctor Who magazine, like the Daleks won't be in it, and then they managed to sort something out. And now, we've gone the other way. Can't stop having Daleks. So it was very exciting at the time. So we'll talk about that next time.
Was that a big surprise as well? Because obviously Doctor Who magazine would have published.
Oh no, it wasn't a surprise. Like it wasn't. They announced it that they got the rights to the Daleks, and it was in the promo, it was in all the trailers. That clip of that shot of the Dalek was in all the up before the series even started. But early on,
Yeah.
when they were just reporting that the new series was coming back, they were like, we haven't got the rights to the Daleks. But I think, yeah, it was on the Radio Times and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, that's what I remember. I remember seeing
yeah,
it.
great. Okay, well, we'll see everyone for Dalek next time. I'm glad I'm reevaluating these episodes as I go. I'm really enjoying them at the moment.
Good.
It's been such a long time since I watched them. You can follow us all, everybody, at To Watch Who on social medias and at patreon.com. I'll find for our patrons that us talking about the history of Tom Jones with Camille Kajuri in it. I'll dig that up and share that. But in the meantime, we will see you all next time for Dalek.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
To Watch Who.